Hey, so in this video we'll be doing the Easter eggs and prediction for Season 5, Episode 21 of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Spoiler Spoiler Not Caught Up. If you don't pay attention to the behind-the-scenes stuff, you probably would not have known this, but the episode's title was actually changed. It still has the same meaning, but its official title is called Force of Gravity, and before the title change, it was actually the equation to Force of Gravity. I personally wouldn't have changed it, because it's the equation to a Force of Gravity is really unique for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so I would have personally had the equation of Force of Gravity instead of the word Force of Gravity. But going into the actual episode, was anyone else nervous going into it because of the black Marvel logo that popped up instead of the red one? Because it reminded me of another Marvel property, and it just made me a little bit of nervous going into the episode. But comment down below if you had the same thought. So yeah, and we had Fitz and Simmons actually trying to think of a way to stop the Earth's destruction and whatnot. And Fitz has this idea that the way to save the world is to save Coulson. And he thinks that they should succeed in saving Coulson, and we don't just try. I don't understand that thought process there, because I'm pretty sure in every single loop, the team would have wanted to succeed in saving Coulson, and not just try to save Coulson. So I don't see how he connected those dots there, because it goes really hand in hand in a way. Trying to succeed is going hand in hand. So I don't see how that would work out if it actually worked. But yeah, we had Coulson and May trapped on the Remorath ship, and they're reminiscing of their past with Talbot and all that kind of stuff, and how far they've come with their friendship. And it is true, because when we first met them, they weren't the best of friends. In episode 18 of Season 1, they weren't the best of friends in that episode. So I really appreciate that they made that callback there of how far they've come. But yeah, going on to the Daisy side of the storyline, I guess we had her and Tarian talking in like this mind prison thing, and she has come to terms with what Fitz did with taking out the inhibitor and all that kind of stuff, because she says we fight not without a little bit of lack of respect. So I appreciate that she's been able to come to terms with that in a way, even though she's not really going to be as close with Fitz, but still she's able to work on that, I guess, in a way that she is able to move forward, I guess, in a way. And Daisy tells Tarian that his sons will be stabbed in the back, which is true. Both of them will have died stabbed in the back, because that's what happened in our time loop. So I'm presuming every single time loop it's similarly in the exact same way. So, but I never really thought of this. But knowing your sons are gonna die at some point is probably the worst thing to think about, because it's 74 years of this, having to think that, oh, your sons are gonna die at some point, being stabbed in the back. So having Daisy tell Tarian that would probably be torturous, be torture. But then Daisy goes to say something that is one of the worst things she could have said, because we're in this time loop, and this is the worst thing she could have said. she says, "I'm the destroyer of worlds." Even though it's a cool scene and all, where she breaks out of the mind prison and all, but saying "I'm the destroyer of worlds" to the Cassius' father is probably the worst thing she could have said, because that would mean that's how the time loop continued, and that's how Cassius knew about the destroyer of worlds in the future. So yeah, that was probably the worst thing she could have said. And going to the Talbot, Mac, and Yo-Yo side of the storyline, I guess, we get to see that Talbot visited Krill and all that kind of stuff, and he ends up killing him. And we see Mac and Yo-Yo sees that on like a security camera, and this brings up Mac brings up this conversation to Yo-Yo about how he forgave Krill for killing his best friend Hartley, because she was brainwashed and all that kind of stuff, and he has the biggest heart and whatnot, and he doesn't want to kill Talbot unless it's necessary and whatnot. But that's his main. But that's how he thinks. That's how Shield works. Is that they try to save lives and not try to take lives as much as possible. So he thinks that Talbot could be redeemed in a way, but if it comes to killing Talbot, Mac is the one that wants to be the one to take him down. But yeah, and they're trying to figure out where Talbot might go and to try to redeem himself and whatnot. Mac, I really like this little detail because it connects to Mac's storyline, even though it's not a big focus, where their realization is that he's going to try to fix his relationship with his son. So he said, Mac says, be a good father. So I really appreciate that it connects in a way to Mac's storyline, where he's dealing with the loss of hope, and he can kind of relate to this in a way, I guess. I've said it before, he can relate it to being children and motherhood and fatherhood and whatnot, so I really appreciate that. And Yo-Yo has this line in this a word in this episode, where she refers to a famous Shakespeare play, Macbeth, and it just have a little bit of ties to what's going on in this season, where Macbeth is about this guy that was told by 3 witches that he would become king one day, and he became drunk with power, pretty much, which in a way, you replaced the 3 witches with Robin, and the king with Talbot becoming drunk with power, thinking that he can become the savior of worlds and whatnot. But obviously that's not how it happened. But it's a little bit of a play, I guess, on how that play was, even though I've never actually seen it or read it. I only know little pieces of that. So yeah, but we get to see his interactions with his wife and all that kind of stuff and his son, and he brings up a point how Maddie is with his wife because of Hydra brainwashing him, and it was his wife that did it. And I understand why he's mad at her. I just don't think it's right to go as far as he did, because it wasn't her fault. Like she had no choice in the matter, or she would have died, and George would have died most likely. So yeah. Then you had a little bit of a line where Graviton Talbot made fun of Thor and Iron Man. I really love that scene, that line where he made fun of Thor and Iron Man for not being able to fly. I don't know why I loved it so much, or fly without any like means of like magic hammer and whatnot. So I really found that funny. And then you have in the rest of the little bit of episode we had May and Coulson. They were going to be attacked by the Remoraths, and Coulson uses a shield to block bullets and whatnot, and he ends up kissing May. And right after the kiss, he says, "I thought that would shut you up," which is the exact same line that May used on Coulson earlier on when she said, "I love you." So I really appreciate that callback there. And I don't know if it was just me or not, but when Kovas and May started to fight, was anyone a bit nervous? Because I've been thinking about this ever since the Remoraths showed up, about who was going to die in that drawing from episode 5. And once Kovas's weapon came out of his arm or whatever, Dee calls it a claw, it looked somewhat similar to an actual claw in a way, because it was a lot longer than the other Remoraths. But it scared me thinking that, okay, someone could be possibly dying soon. I don't know who or when or how, but it's possibly that Kovas had something to do with it, especially because of that weapon. But I'm not going to tell you if that came true or not. You'll have to watch my next video to actually see if that actually came true or not. But we had, during this fight with Kovas and May Coulson has this little bit of a line to Daisy where he says May's having the time of her life, something along that line, and it's possible that it's a reference to Clark Gregg, who plays Coulson, because Coulson is married to Jennifer Grey, who was Baby in Dirty Dancing, and having the time of your life is a reference to that movie. So it's a possible way of possibly referencing that. I don't know if that's actually true or not, but it's possible. And then you had, and that's about it there actually. So comment down below if I missed any Easter eggs or references for episode 21. And for predictions, the only prediction I actually had was that I actually predicted in a previous video was that Talbot was going to be banished to the fear dimension. I'm not going to say if that was true or not, but that was the only other prediction I had. And there was a prediction that Twitter I saw that this is semi-spoiler for the actual episode of the finale, but there was in the promo there was like the In Remembrance that popped up, and it was possible that it was a trick to who actually is going to die or whatnot. And Crazy Girl Vids actually had this theory that it was possibly that it was in remembrance of Talbot, because he was a good person and all that kind of stuff. It was possible that they were doing that, but I'm not going to tell you if that was true or not. But that was actually a good theory prediction. So yeah, comment down below if I missed any Easter eggs or references. See ya.